This extraordinary little artifact was found in the age-old ruins of Sumerian civilization, and in the decades since its discovery, it has become one of the greatest curiosities in the world. The image that you're looking at was carved into the stone face of a cylinder seal more than 4,000 years ago. It's important to put that time frame in perspective. That was the earliest age of human history, an era when mankind still had one foot in the Stone Age. Of special interest is this well-designed depiction of a solar system. It's way ahead of its time, much too far ahead of its time to fit into the conventional sequence of human history. This image gets things scientifically right in several uncanny ways, including the layout, shapes, and relative sizes of cosmic bodies in any solar system. One of the features of the little image that's much too advanced for the ancient era that this comes from is seen in the fact that the sun is situated in the middle of things, encircled by the planets, which is an abstract representation of a sun-centered or heliocentric arrangement. But how can that be? The idea that our planet orbits around the sun wasn't even suggested until thousands of years after this was made. And the full story is that mankind did not even begin to recognize that our planet is just one member of the whole set of planets which are all in orbit around our sun until the revolutionary astronomy of Nicholas Copernicus began to change our point of view in the year 1543 AD. In historical terms, that change in our point of view happened practically yesterday. Notice also that there are more than 5 planets visible here. But that's strange, because no members of mankind knew of any more than 5 planets. From time to time in the night sky, depending on their relative positions in our solar system, one or more of the 5 planets that are closest to Earth can be seen by human eyes. These are the 5 traditionally known as the visible planets, or the naked eye planets. The most distant planet of these 5 that we can sometimes see as a small star-like point of light is Saturn. But human eyesight has its natural limits. The next planet out there, Uranus, is billions of kilometers farther away. It's more than twice as far away. It's simply too far away for us to see. Throughout history, from Claudius Ptolemy to Copernicus, Western civilization's astronomy was always aware of 5 planets beyond Earth, but only 5. Across the world in East Asia, although Chinese astronomical traditions group the stars into different constellations and generally embraced a very different vision of astronomy, one thing the 2 systems, East and West, agreed upon was the count of the planets. There were just 5. Mankind didn't learn that there could be such thing as other planets until telescopes were invented and developed technologically. We only got the news about 300 years ago. In other words, more than 90% of all recorded history had passed before we saw beyond the old 5-planet paradigm. Yet this image of the sun, surrounded by so many planets, was made during the first chapter of human history. Some intelligence at work in ancient Sumeria was not only aware that there could be more planets, but they were confident enough to either carve an image of them in stone or to make the original image from which this image was copied. How about the shape of the planets? If this is supposed to be our solar system, the family of planets to which our world belongs, then one of those planets must be the Earth. Notice that all of the planets are round. Yet this was made in a time when human beings, as far as historians know, universally believed that the Earth was flat. People thought of the Earth as a vast horizontal plane, something like a great platform of land. The Sumerians certainly believed the Earth to be flat. We have plenty of their tablets. We know what they thought. They simply believed what they saw. In most places, the distant horizon appears to be almost a straight line, a great flat interface between Earth and sky. So, if not the Sumerians, we can look around. Who could have supplied the information with spherical planets? How about other human cultures at the time? Well, 2350 BC was such a primitive period of time that most human cultures were still prehistoric. They weren't leaving records. But there are a couple of cultures that we do know about. To the west of Sumeria, along the Nile River, the Egyptians had recently finished building the pyramid complex at Giza, the famous pyramids and a sphinx at Giza, that complex. The Egyptians left plenty of information about the way they saw the cosmos, both in their art and in their writings. There can be no question that the ancient Egyptians certainly believed the earth to be flat. Around the world to the east, about the same time, in villages along the Yellow River, people whose descendants would eventually form China had already formed the traditions of the autumn moon festival, and that lets us know how they saw the world. In their view, the world was flat, and China was situated immediately under the apex of the dome of sky. In fact, as far as historians know, in that ancient era, everybody everywhere believed the earth to be flat. The little solar system image presents us with a mystery of historic proportions. And there's a synergy going on with it. It's the sum of its parts and more. And in that, it closely approximates a modern picture of a solar system. It is abstract, it uses an economy of scale, but so do they all. They have to fit the planets visually into the picture. So even in its economy of scale, it very closely approximates modern images. You get an idea of how closely. Compare it with the image on NASA's website. I went to NASA's website looking for a solar system image, and have a look at what I found. Certainly, the solar system image proves that in 2350 BC, some intelligence was at work in Sumeria, who was a citizen of a more advanced civilization than our conventional view of history would expect to see there. I'm going to prove that the advanced civilization at the source of this image was an alien civilization. And I'm going to do so on the basis of the chemical properties of the compound manganese oxide, and on the basis of the geometric properties of a triangle, a simple three-sided geometric figure. And I hope you enjoy the prospect of extraterrestrial contact at the sunrise of human history. And I hope you enjoy the fresh ideas that you get from me.